Do you feel stuck learning English? I used to be silent for years, too shy to speak even a single sentence. Hi, this is Easy English Official. Today, I will share with you my journey of improving English in just 5 months. You will learn simple, practical methods that anyone can start right now. Get ready to discover the secrets that actually work, and let's turn your English dreams into reality together. Chapter 1. My biggest problem. Why I could not speak English. When I was young, I thought English was only about passing exams. Teachers gave us grammar rules and long vocabulary lists, and I memorized them again and again. But when it was time to open my mouth, nothing came out. It felt like I was carrying a heavy bag full of books, but I did not know how to walk with it. I wanted to speak, but my tongue refused to move. Many nights I sat alone, asking myself the same painful question. Why can't I speak? I had studied for years, filled notebooks with notes, and repeated exercises. Still, when I met someone who spoke English, my body froze. My brain was awake, but my voice was locked inside. The shame burned inside me every time I failed to speak. It was not just about English. It felt like my whole identity was broken. Friends who were confident became the center of attention, while I stayed quiet. I wanted to join conversations, but I only smiled and nodded. Deep inside, I was screaming words that never came out. Loneliness grew larger each day I kept silent. One day, I had a chance to meet a foreigner at a cultural event. My heart beat fast, and I thought, this is my chance. But when he said hello, I could only nod. The words I had practiced so many times disappeared like smoke. My throat was tight, my palms were wet, and my dream moment became a nightmare. I felt smaller than ever. That night, I could not sleep. I replayed the scene again and again in my head. Why did my years of study fail me? Why was my mouth empty when my mind was full? I realized the truth. I had been learning English the wrong way. I was collecting knowledge, but I was not learning to live with the language. It was like knowing everything about swimming, but never touching the water. The more I tried, the more fear I built inside. Every mistake felt like a mountain. I believed people would laugh at me, so I chose silence. Silence became my safe place, but it was also a prison. Inside that prison, my confidence died slowly. Every day I stayed silent, the walls of fear grew taller. English movies were another painful reminder. I pressed play with hope, but quickly turned off the screen in frustration. The characters spoke fast, and their words sounded like music I could not understand. Even when I read the subtitles, I felt lost. Songs were the same, just noise with no meaning. It was like standing outside a party, hearing laughter, but never being invited inside. I thought giving up would make me feel better. So I closed my books and said to myself, maybe English is not for me. For a while, I pretended I didn't care, but deep down, I felt empty. The dream of speaking English stayed alive in my heart, no matter how hard I tried to kill it. My biggest problem was not grammar, not vocabulary, and not intelligence. My biggest problem was fear. Fear of mistakes, fear of shame, fear of being judged. This fear was like a strong rope that tied my ship to the shore. I had the tools, I had the energy, but I never sailed. I stayed stuck in the same place. I often compared myself with others. When I saw people speaking English naturally, I thought they were born with special talent. I felt like I was standing at the bottom of a tall mountain while everyone else was already at the top. Comparison made me feel even weaker, and it stole the little courage I had left. Sometimes teachers said I was good at English because my exam scores were high. But those scores were lies. They gave me a fake confidence that broke as soon as I faced real conversation. Paper tests could not measure the courage to speak. They could not show the sound of a voice shaking with fear. They could not capture the silence of a student who knew the answer, but could not say it. I remember walking home from school one evening with tears in my eyes. I was angry at myself. I shouted inside, "Why can't you speak? Why are you so weak?" The truth was painful. I was not weak, but my method was weak. I was building a house without a door. I had walls of knowledge, but no way to step inside and live in it. The saddest part was how this problem changed my personality. I was not naturally shy, but English made me shy. I avoided parties, meetings, and opportunities where English might appear. Slowly, I became a quiet person, not because I wanted to be, but because English pushed me into silence. That silence spread into other parts of my life too. At times, I wondered if I was the only one. Was I the only student who felt trapped? But when I looked closer, I saw many others were also afraid. They smiled in class but never spoke. They avoided eye contact when teachers asked questions. It made me realize I was not alone, but we were all prisoners of the same fear. Yet even with this realization, I could not escape. Each time I thought about trying, the memory of past failures came back. I saw myself nodding at the foreigner again, my face red with shame. That memory was like a chain pulling me back every time I tried to move forward. English became a mirror I was afraid to look into. When I heard someone speak, it reflected my failure. When I saw a movie in English, it reflected my weakness. When someone asked me a simple question, it reflected my silence. This mirror showed me a version of myself I did not want to see. Still, somewhere deep inside, a small voice whispered, "You can change." That voice was tiny, almost invisible, but it refused to die. Even when I said I was finished with English, the dream of speaking stayed alive. It hid quietly, waiting for the day I would listen again. Looking back, I understand my problem more clearly. I thought learning English was about filling my brain, but real English lives in the heart and the mouth. I thought perfection was required, but mistakes are the real teachers. My prison was not English itself, it was my mindset. At that time, I could not see the solution. All I saw was failure, fear, and silence. But this chapter of my life, this long struggle, became the foundation for everything that came later. My biggest problem was not the end, it was the beginning of a new journey. And that journey was waiting for me to take the first step. Chapter 2. Change your mindset. English is not a subject, it is a bridge. For many years, I believed English was a school subject. Teachers told me to study grammar, memorize words, and prepare for exams. I thought high scores meant success, but when I faced real life, my scores were useless. I realized English is not a subject to pass, it is a bridge to cross. A subject is something you finish in school. A bridge is something you use to connect with the world. When I began to see English as a bridge, everything changed. I was no longer studying for paper, I was preparing for life. This simple shift gave me new energy to continue. Fear was my biggest enemy. I was not afraid of rules, but I was afraid of mistakes. Every time I opened my mouth, a voice inside said, "Don't make a mistake." That voice kept me silent. But then I thought, when I was a child learning to ride a bike, I fell many times. Falling was part of learning. Why should English be different? The fear of mistakes is like a rope holding a ship to the shore. The ship has strong engines, good design, and the power to travel. But if the rope is not cut, the ship never moves. I was that ship. My knowledge was the engine, but fear was the rope. I had to cut it to start my journey. Changing mindset does not happen in one day. At first, I still judged myself harshly, but slowly I reminded myself, mistakes are teachers, not enemies. Each mistake shows the next step. When I accepted this truth, I felt lighter. Speaking became less scary and more exciting. I realized something important. No one remembers your mistakes as much as you do. When I made a small error, I thought the world was watching. But in reality, people only cared about understanding me. They did not laugh, they did not judge, they only wanted to connect. That was a big relief. Once I accepted mistakes, I started to enjoy English. I stopped treating it like heavy homework. I treated it like a tool for life. A hammer is not beautiful, but it builds houses. English is not just words, but it builds relationships. Thinking this way gave me a new purpose. I also noticed the power of small habits. When I forced myself to study for hours, I quickly gave up. But when I added tiny English actions into daily life, it felt natural. Listening to a song, changing subtitles, or reading a short article became fun. Progress came quietly, without pressure. This mindset of progress over perfection gave me hope. I told myself, it is better to speak imperfectly than to stay silent perfectly. Silence does not connect you to anyone, but even broken English can open a door. That door might lead to a job, a friend, or a dream. The bridge idea became my favorite image. I saw English as a long bridge across a wide river. On my side was my old life, full of limits. On the other side was opportunity, connection, and freedom. Each step on the bridge was practice, and every mistake was a small crack I could repair. Sometimes I still looked back and thought of quitting, but the bridge image pushed me forward. I could not turn back because I had already stepped on the bridge. The only way was forward, even if I moved slowly. With each step, the world became clearer. At first, I worried about my pronunciation. I thought people would laugh if I sounded strange. But I remembered, even if a bridge is old or broken in places, it still works if it connects two sides. My pronunciation did not need to be perfect. It only needed to carry meaning across. I also realized English is not only about words, it is about courage. A bridge does not ask you to be strong, it asks you to walk. Likewise, English does not ask you to be perfect, it asks you to try. Courage is the true foundation of communication. With this mindset, I created daily rituals. One day I listened to English music and sang along. Another day I wrote a short diary entry. These actions were small, but together they became powerful. Like drops of water filling a glass, each small habit filled me with progress. I felt a change in my emotions. Before, English made me nervous. Now, it made me curious. Curiosity replaced fear. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" I asked, "What can I discover today?" That new question gave me freedom. I began to celebrate small wins. Understanding one line in a movie felt like winning a medal. Speaking one sentence in public felt like climbing a mountain. These little victories built confidence. Confidence became fuel for the next step. I also compared my mindset with sports. A runner does not quit after one bad race. They train again, step by step. English is the same. One bad conversation does not mean failure. It only means practice is needed. Thinking this way gave me patience. The more I accepted this mindset, the more I enjoyed the process. I no longer counted mistakes, I counted moments of courage. Each time I spoke, no matter how broken, I felt alive. This joy was stronger than fear. The bridge of English started to connect me with people. I spoke to strangers online and they understood me. I made friends in other countries. Their smiles were proof that my mindset was working. Communication, not perfection, was the real goal. When I saw my progress, I wanted to share it. I told friends, "Don't worry about mistakes. Just talk." Some of them tried, and they also felt the power of this mindset. Sharing gave me more strength. It confirmed that this path was not only for me, but for everyone. Sometimes I imagined my old self sitting in silence. That old version of me looked sad and hopeless. Then I looked at my new self, speaking with joy. The difference was not talent. It was not luck. It was only mindset. That thought gave me pride. There were still days when I felt tired. On those days I remembered, English is not a subject with a final exam. It is a bridge with no end. The goal is not to finish, but to keep walking. That belief gave me peace during difficult times. I also learned that mindset shapes environment. When I saw English as a subject, my environment was books and exams. When I saw it as a bridge, my environment became songs, movies, and people. The world itself became my classroom. That made learning exciting. The bridge mindset also gave me a new vision for my future. Jobs, travel, friendships, all of them were on the other side. Each step in English was also a step toward a better life. This vision pulled me forward even on dark days. The old fear of being laughed at started to fade. Now I laughed at myself kindly when I made mistakes. Laughter replaced shame. I treated mistakes as funny teachers who pushed me forward. This lightness made speaking easier. I understood now that grammar and vocabulary are tools, not goals. They are like bricks to build the bridge, but without courage to walk, the bricks are useless. The bridge is complete only when we use it. That was the final truth my mindset revealed. This chapter of my journey taught me the most valuable lesson. English is not about being perfect. It is about connection. Connection requires bravery, patience, and practice. That is how English became not a subject in my notebook, but a living bridge in my life. Whenever I face new challenges, I return to this idea. I remind myself, do not see problems, see bridges. Do not see mistakes, see lessons. With this mindset, every step becomes progress. Every step becomes hope. Changing my mindset was the real beginning of my English journey. It was like opening a locked door inside me. Behind that door was not fear, but freedom. And once I opened it, I never wanted to close it again. Chapter 3. 3 secrets you can start right now when I decided to change. I did not want to waste more years. I needed simple, powerful actions that would work immediately. I did not have money for expensive courses or time for complicated programs. What I found were 3 secrets that anyone can start right now. These secrets became the strongest weapons in my journey. The first secret was active listening. At first, I thought listening meant just playing songs or movies in the background. But passive listening is like sitting in a room with music while your mind is somewhere else. Active listening means focusing with full attention, hearing every sound, and connecting it to meaning. That was the key difference. I practiced active listening by choosing my favorite movie. The first time, I watched with no subtitles, only listening to the sounds. The second time, I added English subtitles and matched the sounds with the words. Slowly, my brain connected the voice and the letters together. Each time, my ears became sharper. After listening, I used the shadowing method. This means speaking after the actor, copying their pronunciation and rhythm. At first, I felt silly repeating lines like a parrot, but after a few days, my tongue moved faster. My mouth learned new sounds naturally. It was like exercising a muscle. Practice made it stronger. I discovered that shadowing is like swimming. You cannot learn to swim by reading a book. You must jump into the water. Shadowing put me inside the water of English. Even when I made mistakes, I was moving. That movement gave me confidence. It turned listening into speaking. The second secret was silent conversation. This one is powerful when you have no partner to practice with. Many times, I was alone with no one to speak English to. But then I realized my own mind could be my best partner. Thinking in English became my daily game. At first, it felt unnatural to talk to myself inside my head. I would wake up and think, "It's morning. I feel sleepy." During breakfast, I thought, "I am eating bread and drinking tea." These sentences were simple, but they trained my brain to think in English. Slowly, it became natural. Silent conversation is like planting seeds. In the beginning, the seeds are small and nothing seems to grow. But after weeks, the plant rises. My thoughts started to appear in English automatically. I did not need to translate from my native language anymore. That change made real speaking much easier. I also used silent conversation during walks or bus rides. Instead of letting my mind wander, I described what I saw in English. The man is reading a newspaper. The bus is crowded today. These simple sentences built an English world inside my head. My brain stopped resisting the language. The third secret was journaling. Writing is a mirror for your mind. When I tried to speak, my ideas often disappeared before I could say them. But when I wrote them down, I could see them clearly. Journaling became my daily practice to organize thoughts into English. My first journals were short, just a few lines. Today I feel tired. I studied hard. I will rest soon. Over time, they grew longer and richer. I wrote about my feelings, my dreams, and even my failures. Writing taught me to connect words into natural sentences. I also shared some writing on social media. At first, I was afraid people would correct me or laugh, but I discovered that most people respected the effort. Some even encouraged me. That positive feedback pushed me to keep writing every day. Journaling also helped me speak better. When I wrote a new phrase many times, it became easier to use it in conversation. Writing was like building a toolbox of sentences. Later, when I needed them, I could take them out quickly. That connection between writing and speaking was powerful. The three secrets, listening, silent conversation, and journaling, are not complicated. They do not require money, only consistency. At first, I doubted they could work, but after weeks of daily practice, I saw big changes. These simple steps built a strong foundation. Active listening improved my ears. Shadowing gave my mouth new strength. Silent conversation trained my brain to think in English. Journaling trained my hands and mind to create sentences. Together, these practices touched every part of language learning. The most beautiful part was how fun it became. Instead of heavy textbooks, I was watching movies I loved. Instead of boring drills, I was thinking about my real life in English. Instead of strict lessons, I was writing my personal story. Learning became a joy, not a duty. Some days I felt lazy or busy. On those days, I reminded myself that even 5 minutes of practice was better than nothing. Listening to one song, thinking one thought, or writing one line was still progress. The secrets worked because they were small and flexible. I also realized that consistency was more important than intensity. Practicing every day, even for a short time, was more powerful than studying for hours once a week. Like drops of water, small daily habits filled the cup. My cup of English grew full day by day. At times, I made mistakes while shadowing. My pronunciation was strange, and I laughed at myself. But I kept going. The important part was not sounding perfect, but continuing. Each mistake became a stepping stone. That mindset kept me moving forward. Silent conversation also helped me in surprising ways. Once, I met someone and needed to speak quickly. My brain did not freeze because it was already used to thinking in English. The sentences I had practiced silently came out naturally. That moment showed me the real power of this secret. Journaling gave me a record of progress. When I read old entries, I laughed at my simple sentences, but I also felt proud. Each page showed proof of growth. It reminded me that I was moving forward even when I felt slow. That encouragement was priceless. These 3 secrets are not magic, but they create magic results. They train your ears, your mouth, your brain, and your hands together. They connect listening, speaking, thinking, and writing. That complete system is why they worked so well for me. I believe anyone can use these secrets. It does not matter if you are 14 or 50, if you are rich or poor, if you are busy or free. If you start today with these small actions, you will feel progress in weeks. The secret is not talent, it is consistency. When I shared these methods with friends, some tried them and were surprised. They said, "It really works." That gave me more motivation to continue. I knew I had discovered something valuable. These were not just tricks, they were habits for life. The journey of English can feel long and heavy, but with these secrets, it feels lighter. They make learning part of your daily life, not a burden. Instead of waiting for the perfect teacher or course, you become your own teacher with these habits. Now, whenever someone asks me, "How did you improve in 5 months?" I always answer with these 3 secrets. They were my foundation, my guide, and my hope. Without them, I would still be silent. With them, I began to speak. If I could start again, I would not waste time memorizing endless grammar rules. I would begin with listening, thinking, and writing every day. These are the real steps to freedom. These are the secrets that opened the door for me. Looking back, I see how powerful they were. They turned my fear into action, my silence into voice, and my dreams into reality. They gave me not only English, but also confidence. That confidence spread into other parts of my life too. The 3 secrets are simple, but they are not easy. They require daily effort and patience. But if you continue, the results will surprise you. They surprised me, and they can surprise you too. This is the truth I discovered on my journey. Even now, I still use them. I listen to English daily, I think in English naturally, and I write about my life. These habits are no longer practice. They are part of who I am. That is the ultimate power of these secrets. So if you are searching for a starting point, do not wait. Do not overthink. Begin today with these 3 secrets. They will lead you to your own success. They will guide you across the bridge of English, step by step, with joy and confidence. Chapter 4. Advanced Practice, Methods for Better Speaking. After I built my foundation with listening, silent conversation, and journaling, I was ready for the next step. I wanted to move from simple practice to advanced methods. My goal was not only to speak, but to speak with confidence and fluency. These advanced methods became the tools that sharpened my skills. The first advanced practice I used was recording myself. At first, I felt uncomfortable hearing my own voice. It sounded strange and unnatural. But recording gave me a mirror. Just like looking at your face in a real mirror, hearing your voice shows the truth. That truth is the beginning of progress. When I listened to my recordings, I noticed small mistakes I never realized while speaking. Sometimes I spoke too fast. Sometimes I repeated the same word. Sometimes my pronunciation was weak. These mistakes became my teachers. Each recording gave me new lessons. The second advanced practice was role-playing real situations. I imagined myself in a restaurant, an airport, or a job interview. I spoke as if I were really there. Sometimes, I even acted out both sides of the conversation. It felt like playing a game, but it prepared me for real life. Role-playing was powerful because it trained my brain to respond quickly. In real conversations, you do not have time to translate or prepare. By practicing situations in advance, my responses became natural. When the real moment came, I was ready. Another advanced method I used was voice shadowing with emotion. Before, I shadowed movies only to copy sounds. Now, I tried to copy emotions too. If the actor was angry, I spoke with anger. If the actor was happy, I smiled while speaking. This gave life to my words. Emotion made a huge difference. Without it, my English sounded robotic. With emotion, my sentences carried meaning beyond words. People responded to my feelings, not just my grammar. That made communication stronger and more real. I also discovered the power of storytelling practice. Every day I told a short story out loud. Sometimes it was about my childhood, sometimes about a dream, sometimes about a funny memory. Storytelling trained me to connect sentences and ideas smoothly. At first, my stories were broken. I stopped often and searched for words. But over time, my stories flowed better. I realized storytelling is not about perfect grammar. It is about sharing meaning in an interesting way. This skill helped me in real conversations with friends and strangers. One advanced technique that surprised me was imitating accents. I chose speakers I admired, actors, teachers, or even YouTubers, and copied their accent carefully. At first it felt impossible, but after practice, my pronunciation improved naturally. It was like training my ears and tongue at the same time. Imitating accents taught me rhythm and melody. Every language has music, and English is no different. When I copied that music, my sentences sounded smoother. People told me I sounded clearer, even if my grammar was not perfect. Another powerful method was time challenges. I gave myself 1 minute to speak about any topic without stopping. At first, I could only say a few sentences. But day by day, I pushed myself further. These time challenges trained my fluency under pressure. Fluency is not about knowing many words. It is about moving forward even when words are missing. Time challenges taught me to keep going, to explain with simple language, and to avoid freezing. This skill gave me confidence in real conversations. I also practiced with online language partners. Speaking with real people gave me energy and accountability. Sometimes we talked about culture, sometimes about hobbies, sometimes about dreams. Each conversation reminded me that English is alive. It exists to connect hearts. At first, I was shy with partners, but I remembered my mindset. Mistakes are teachers, not enemies. Soon, I relaxed and enjoyed the exchange. My partners corrected me kindly, and I learned faster than studying alone. These connections became priceless. One more advanced method was teaching English to beginners. I thought I was not good enough to teach. But when I explained simple things to others, my own understanding grew stronger. Teaching forced me to organize my thoughts and use clear words. Teaching also gave me confidence. If I could help someone understand, it meant I had learned enough to share. That feeling of progress motivated me to keep going. Sharing knowledge doubled my growth. These advanced methods worked together like gears in a machine. Recording improved my self-awareness. Role-playing prepared me for real life. Storytelling built fluency. Accent practice sharpened sound. Time challenges increased speed. Language partners gave experience. Teaching reinforced knowledge. I realized that advanced practice is not about difficulty, it is about creativity. You do not need to buy expensive tools. You only need to use your imagination. Every method is free, and every moment can become practice if you use it wisely. Some days, I felt tired of practicing, but I reminded myself, advanced practice is like going to the gym. The exercises are harder, but the results are stronger. Each advanced step brought me closer to fluency. That thought kept me moving. These methods also taught me discipline. It is easy to give up when no one is watching, but recording myself, setting time challenges, or keeping a storytelling routine built discipline. Discipline is the secret behind fluency. I learned to celebrate small wins in advanced practice. When I told a story without stopping, I celebrated. When my accent sounded closer to the original, I smiled. These little victories gave me power to continue the journey. Advanced practice also showed me the importance of patience. Fluency does not come in 1 month. It grows slowly, like a tree. Every practice session is a drop of water for that tree. Without patience, the tree will die before it grows. With patience, it will become strong. I notice my confidence growing not only in English, but in life. When I succeeded in a time challenge, I felt brave in other tasks too. Advanced practice built more than language. It built courage. That courage spread into my daily life. I also realized that mistakes never disappear completely. Even advanced learners make them. The difference is that advanced practice teaches you to recover quickly. You learn to laugh, correct, and continue. That is true fluency. Looking back, I see that these methods were the turning point. Basic habits gave me a foundation, but advanced practice gave me wings. With wings, I could fly across conversations, express myself freely, and connect with the world. The best part of advanced practice is freedom. You can design your own exercises, mix different methods, and focus on what excites you. Learning becomes an adventure, not a chore. That freedom makes you unstoppable. Now, whenever I face new challenges, I return to these methods. If I feel weak, I record myself. If I feel stuck, I role play. If I feel bored, I tell a story. Each method is a tool I can use anytime. They are always there for me. These advanced practices are not secrets kept by experts. They are available to everyone. If you start using them today, you will notice your speaking grows faster and stronger. They worked for me, and they can work for you. In the end, advanced practice is not about being perfect. It is about becoming natural. It is about reaching a point where English is not a subject, not a fear, but a part of who you are. That is the goal I reached. and the goal you can reach too. Chapter 5. What to do when you face problems. When I was learning English, problems came again and again. Sometimes it was lack of time, sometimes it was sadness, and sometimes it was pure laziness. At first, I thought these problems meant I was weak, but later, I learned that problems are part of every journey. One wise teacher told me a phrase I will never forget: rest, but never quit. At first, I did not understand, but later, I realized the meaning. Taking a break is not failure. It is like pausing to take a deep breath before running again. When I felt tired, I gave myself permission to stop for a day or two. During that time, I listened to music, enjoyed life, and relaxed. After resting, I felt stronger and ready to return to practice. That short pause gave me new power. Some people quit because they think rest is weakness. But quitting and resting are different. Quitting closes the door forever. Resting only pauses the journey. After rest, you can continue walking with fresh energy and hope. I also faced days when motivation was very low. I asked myself, why am I doing this? Maybe English is not for me. Those negative thoughts were heavy. But I learned that negative thoughts are like clouds. They pass if you wait and keep moving. To fight low motivation, I reminded myself of small wins. I remembered the first time I understood a sentence in a movie. I remembered the first time a foreigner understood my words. These memories became fire in my heart. Celebrating small wins is one of the strongest weapons against problems. Big goals are far away and hard to reach. But small wins are close and real. They give you proof that you are moving forward step by step. When I celebrated small wins, I felt proud of myself. Even understanding one new word was a victory. Even speaking one clear sentence was progress. These small victories built a wall of confidence around me. Another problem I faced was comparison. I saw others who spoke English better than me, and I felt small. I thought I would never catch up. But then I realized, comparing with others kills happiness. The only comparison that matters is with yesterday's self. When I looked back, I saw that I had improved. I was not the same as last month or last year. That thought gave me new energy. Competing with myself was healthier than competing with others. It turned jealousy into motivation. Sometimes I also struggled with fear of mistakes. This fear was strong in the beginning, but it returned from time to time. Even after months of practice, I still felt nervous before speaking to strangers. Problems never disappear completely. To face that fear, I remembered the bike example. When I learned to ride a bike, I fell many times, but each fall made me better. Mistakes in English are the same. Each mistake is a lesson, not a punishment. Another useful idea was writing my feelings in a journal. When I was frustrated, I wrote it down in English. Writing gave me clarity and peace. It turned my problems into words, and words into solutions. One day I wrote, "Today, I feel like giving up." After writing that, I realized how heavy my feelings were. But the moment I put them on paper, the feelings lost their power. I felt lighter and continued practicing. Problems also taught me patience. I wanted fast results. I wanted to speak fluently in 1 month. But life does not work like that. Fluency is a slow process, and problems are reminders to slow down and respect the journey. Patience became my shield. Whenever I faced problems, I told myself, this is part of the process. With patience, I stopped fighting problems and started learning from them. That changed everything. I also created a support system. I told my friends about my English journey. Some of them encouraged me when I felt down. Others even practiced with me. Their support became a soft pillow during hard times. Sharing problems with others is powerful. When you keep them inside, they grow heavier. When you speak about them, they become lighter. Friends, teachers, or even online communities can help you carry the weight. Music and movies also helped me when I was low. Even if I did not understand everything, I enjoyed the sound of English. Enjoyment is medicine for problems. When learning feels fun, problems lose their control. One problem that often came was lack of time. I thought I needed hours every day. But then I discovered that even 10 minutes of focused practice is valuable. Small time is better than no time. Consistency is stronger than long hours once in a while. This lesson removed my excuse. I no longer said, "I don't have time." Instead, I asked, "How can I use 10 minutes today?" That small question destroyed a big problem. Another strategy I used was to mix practice methods. When I felt bored with listening, I switched to speaking. When writing felt heavy, I tried shadowing. Changing methods kept my energy alive and stopped problems from growing bigger. Over time, I realized that problems were not enemies. They were teachers. They showed me my weak points. They guided me to new strategies. Without problems, my journey would not be complete. Every problem I faced became a story. Later, when I told others about my journey, I shared those stories. People connected with me because of my struggles, not my perfection. Problems made my story human. In fact, problems gave me more motivation to succeed. When I overcame one obstacle, I felt unstoppable. Each challenge was like climbing a mountain. The view at the top was sweeter because the climb was hard. Resting, celebrating small wins, avoiding comparison, practicing patience, asking for support, enjoying the process, and using time wisely, these were my weapons against problems. They worked again and again. Now, whenever I face a new problem, I smile. I know it is not the end. It is only a step in the journey. The phrase, "rest but never quit," still lives in my heart. It reminds me to continue. Looking back, I am thankful for the problems. Without them, I would not be the person I am today. Problems gave me strength, patience, and courage. They shaped my English journey into something meaningful. So if you are facing problems now, do not feel ashamed. You are not alone. Every learner meets them. The secret is not to escape, but to face them with wisdom. With the right mindset, problems will push you forward. Remember this always: big results come from small daily habits. Even if problems slow you down, keep your small habits alive. Those small habits will build the bridge to your success. Chapter 6: The Power of English and Time to Start Your Journey. English changed my life in more ways than I can count. At first, it was just another subject at school. Later, I discovered it was much more. It was not only about grammar and words, it was a key that opened many locked doors. The first door English opened for me was the world of jobs. Many companies prefer people who can communicate in English. Before, I felt my choices were small, but with English, I could apply for jobs not only in my country, but also in other countries. Better jobs gave me better confidence. In interviews, I was able to express myself. I did not need someone else to translate my thoughts. I was my own voice. That independence gave me freedom. English also opened the door to knowledge. Most books, articles, and research are written in English. Before, I could only read what was available in my language. But with English, the library of the world became mine. I could learn anything I wanted. This access to knowledge changed my thinking. I discovered new ideas, new skills, and new ways of living. It was like being given a superpower. With every page I read, I grew bigger inside. Another gift of English was connection. I met friends from different countries. We talked about our lives, our dreams, and our cultures. Without English, I would never have heard their voices. With English, the world became smaller and friendlier. These friendships taught me respect and understanding. When you speak with people from other cultures, you see the world with new eyes. Your heart becomes wider. English is not just a language, it is a bridge of humanity. Travel also became more exciting. Before, I was shy to go abroad because I could not communicate. But with English, airports, hotels, and cities became easier. I could ask for help, order food, and make new friends on the way. I also noticed that English gave me confidence in myself. When I spoke and people understood me, I felt strong. Confidence in English spilled into other parts of my life. I became braver in making decisions and chasing dreams. English became a part of my identity. It was no longer a subject I studied. It was a tool I lived with every day. It became part of how I think, how I learn, and how I connect with others. One important lesson I learned is this: you don't need to be perfect to benefit from English. Even simple English can open big doors. The secret is to start, not to wait until you are great. Many people are waiting for the perfect moment. They say, "I will start when I have more time," or "I will start when I am ready." But the truth is, the perfect moment never comes. The best time to start is always now. Starting now gives you a head start. Every small step adds up. Today's small effort becomes tomorrow's big progress. Waiting only steals time and chances. I also learned that consistency is more powerful than speed. Even if you practice only 10 minutes a day, it builds into something big. English is not learned in one jump. It is learned in daily steps. The journey is not always easy. There will be mistakes, doubts, and slow days. But those days are part of the story. They make the success sweeter. Without struggle, there is no true victory. I discovered that learning English is like planting a tree. At first, you only see a small seed. With water and sunlight, it grows slowly. But one day, you look back and see a tall tree giving shade and fruit. That is the power of patience. English also gave me a new dream: to inspire others. I realized that if I could do it, anyone can. My story is proof that even shy, doubtful people can become confident speakers. This dream pushes me to share my journey. I believe strongly in the saying, "You don't need to be great to start, but you have to start to be great." These words became my guide. They remind me that action comes before success. When you start today, you are already ahead of those who are still waiting. Every word you speak, every page you read, every mistake you make, these are steps forward. Success is built on these steps. English is more than a skill. It is a passport to opportunities. It gives you freedom to choose your path. It gives you the courage to connect with others. It gives you a voice that can reach the world. This journey also taught me humility. No matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. English keeps me curious and open-minded. It reminds me that learning never ends. The beauty of English is that it connects strangers. Two people from different countries, cultures, and religions can sit together and talk. That simple conversation can create friendship and peace. This is the true power of language. So now, I ask you, Are you ready to start your journey? Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait to be perfect. Take your first step today. Even the smallest step can change your life. When I look back, I see a scared person who could not speak. When I look now, I see a person who can share ideas with the world. That transformation was possible only because I started. The same transformation is waiting for you. The power of English is waiting for you. The bridge to the world is waiting for you. All you need is courage to take your first step. I want you to believe in yourself. If you can read these words, you already have the ability to grow. You already have what it takes. The journey is not for the best. It is for the brave. Remember, English is not just about exams or grammar. It is about life, dreams, and connection. It is about opening doors that were once closed. It is about becoming part of the global story. Today is your chance. Do not stop at watching this video. Take action. Try one method. Speak one sentence. Write one journal. That small action is the seed of your success. When you start, you will struggle, but you will also grow. You will discover strength inside you that you never knew existed. That strength will carry you forward. At the end of the day, the power of English is the power of change. It changed my life. It can change yours too. And when it does, you will look back and thank yourself for starting today. So, take that step. Open the door. Plant the seed. Build the bridge. The world is waiting for your voice. Congratulations. You just took the first step on your English journey with Easy English Official. Remember, big results come from small daily habits. Keep practicing, keep learning, and never give up. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue learning together. Your English adventure is just beginning, and the world is waiting for your voice.